Hi, welcome to Eye Openers. I'm your host, Brittany Drozd, and each week I bring you insightful conversations with entrepreneurs that will help you make more money, become a strong leader, and build a business culture that you're proud of. Grab your coffee and let's dive in. It's so great to be back and recording again and talking with you guys about organizational culture. Now, my business has been going through a ton of growth and evolution behind the scenes. And it's so great to bring to you guys in this season the concepts that I'm spending hours on every day and helping organizations build that stronger culture, which ultimately drives behavior, aligns with the performance they're looking for, and has really every team member feeling like they are making a valuable contribution and finding so much more alignment with themselves and their work. So I really appreciate you guys wanting to dive in with me and explore this concept of organizational culture, employee engagement, leadership development, and really everything that goes along with that. But today in particular, I want to stay really focused on what do people mean when they say culture transformation. So often, if you spend any time on LinkedIn, if you hear from consultants, you hear people talking about culture transformation. And it wasn't until I read this book, which is an amazing book written by Kevin Oakes. He heads up the research firm over at I4CP, which is out of Seattle. And these guys are brilliant. They are doing the hard work, which really supports and reinforces the theories and tactics and strategies I'm out there doing with organizations. It's because of their research that gives me the confidence that I'm doing the right thing. So thank you guys. Thank you, Kevin, for doing that amazing work. Now, his book is called Culture Renovation. And it is such an important concept to think about why culture renovation versus transformation. So you'll hear everybody out there, such a buzzworthy term, culture transformation. Oh my gosh, yes, let's transform. Let's have something totally different. But the truth is, successful change management programs or successful culture change is really about renovation more than it is transformation. And what's the difference there? The key difference is identifying what's already working in your culture and bringing that along with you. So a transformation, I think about it like a caterpillar to a butterfly. A butterfly looks nothing like a caterpillar. And so a transformation, a complete metamorphosis, that language is completely accurate there. But when we think about our companies and our cultures, well, of course, there's parts of us that look the same from before. So renovation is really a much more accurate term when you think about what is actually happening here. Now, when you're in the midst of feeling like your culture isn't aligned, feeling like it's holding you back, you might think, heck yeah, I want a transformation. I want this to be totally different. But that's not what's going to happen, because some of those same people are going to be there on the other end. Some of your same products and services and the very nature of the business or the business model will also still be there. The building might also be the same. So it is naive to think that you're actually having a transformation, and what's more accurate is the term renovation. So if we settle in with that, let's think about what components might drive a successful renovation. The first component would be listening. Let's listen to the people in our organizations to understand, hey, what is working in our current system, our current organization, or our current model? What's working for you? You're still sitting here, you're still employed here. What's working? Let's hear from the people who are actually in the organization, right? And when we hear from them, we're probably going to identify a few bright spots, a few things that are going really well. Because the truth is, if you didn't have any bright spots, or if there wasn't anything going well, you probably wouldn't have a business that was able to have enough team members to be big enough to even try to tackle a culture renovation. If things were so terrible you wouldn't have money or customers. So I say that because I want even the most toxic of workplaces to think about where there might be bright spots in people, in process, in customer interactions. There's definitely some bright spot that you can pull out. There's definitely something that's working, right? So when we listen for that, and we're listening for, what are we going to bring with us? What walls are we going to keep? What room do we already love in our renovation? When we're listening, we're also going to be looking for, hey, where do people gravitate? So who are the key influencers in this organization? Maybe a person is one of these bright spots. Like, you know what? Like, accounting is a total disaster, but everybody loves Mary. I wonder what it is about her. I wonder what it is, how she shows up, or how she engages with customers, or how she makes people feel, right? Getting really curious to understand, who are these key influencers in the organization? Learning who the key influencers are going to help you learn so much about what drives behavior in this organization. So stay really focused there. And on the other side of that coin, looking for, who are the blockers? Who are the naysayers? Who are the ones that no one wants to work with? Or like, don't put that person on my team, right? Like, or who is going to risk this transformation being successful? These are the things, if we can identify them early on, not only can we stand to make them better, but we can also stand to make the project more successful by avoiding the blockers or managing the blockers. We want to think about, what desired behaviors are we trying to emulate here? What, if successful in this culture renovation, what are the behaviors that maybe we don't currently see enough of that we want to encourage and foster? What are the key outcomes that we need to identify, right? And what behaviors drive those? Like, what's underneath the outcomes that we're actually looking to measure, and see how we can connect behavior there. And then the last part that is hugely important to think when we're talking about a culture renovation is measurement. How do we know when we get there? How do we know that, we've landed in the promised land? Our renovation is complete, which FYI never happens, because we're always in the process of honing in and making things stronger. But measurement is this key thing that a lot of people forget about when it comes to culture work. We need to measure progress. We need to understand how we're doing and when we, quote unquote, arrive. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about this concept of renovation versus transformation? Where do you feel like your organization could benefit if you thought about it as a renovation versus transformation? What becomes easier when we think about it that way? And if you've been through a successful culture renovation, I would love to hear what went well, what would you do differently next time, and what were the key benefits that your organization took away. Thanks so much for listening.
Thanks for joining us this week on Eye Openers. Make sure to visit brittnydrose.com/podcast for this week's show notes. And if you found value in today's episode, I would so appreciate you giving us a rating on Apple Podcasts or share it with a friend. Also, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. This all helps to support the show.